Howdy, Ayebawl here, and welcome to another episode of Factorio with Arumba's Angel Plus Bod Mod Pack. So, I was going to do a video about the uranium power mod, but it turned out that when I made a 250 megawatt hour nuclear fusion reactor and then equipped two steam generator Mark 1s and then two 43.6 megawatt turbine generators. And then along with all the Mark II advanced chemical plants to produce a ton of this uranium hexafluoride stuff, so I could make the 3.7% fuel rods. This one. Granted, the uranium was an interesting puzzle within itself, considering that, or maybe it was 3.2. But anyways, the stuff just keeps feeding back into itself. So the the interesting thing is just trying to keep the cycle going without one part overfilling and shutting down the whole system. I'm sure the mod's a great mod. It's just by the time I got everything set up and I was actually producing nuclear power, the game itself basically came to a halt. My FPS, UPS was so low that getting from one side to the base to the other side of the base literally took 5 minutes. And it just basically made it unplayable, and there was no way I was going to be able to continue the series like that. So I had to scrap the whole nuclear program, and even after I picked everything up, the game still never recovered. So I had to revert and reload a previous save. So, just in case of I'm running into any kind of issues where I'm at some kind of verge of some point where adding more stuff to the factory is going to slow it down, uh, I believe one of my viewers left a comment saying that the warehouse mod also plays a big role into eating up the resources. So I don't like that because I use a lot of warehouses throughout the factory. I did, however, go through the factory and destroy all the warehouses of insignificances, such as all the slag that was just sitting around. That is, majority of it is gone. Uh, there's also a warehouse of crystals, which are going to go bye-bye right now. I would like to continue playing this series, but if the systems could come to a halt because I keep adding more stuff, that's not good. So the slag. I have turned the whole slag processing back on. I am now creating tungsten and gold. So yay for tungsten. The warehouses are here where we're having a huge stockpile. That is all gone. I'm pretty sure I don't need this, so that can go. I will, however, keep the gold because, you know, gold's gold. Let's see. So that's my solution to making sure my factory keeps running due to game resources. The crystals that were up here were also destroyed. the stockpile of them anyways. And if a warehouse doesn't get filled up, I will destroy that warehouse and then rebuild it. Um, the main thing for the crystal geodes will be, I believe, getting gems. If I ever get around to it. And the only reason to have gems is to upgrade the lasers. So lasers Mark 1, no gem, just battery and circuits and steel. But for the Mark 2, you need a ruby. The Mark 3, you need a sapphire. And the Mark 4, you need a amethyst. And I believe there's a Mark 5, and the Mark 5 takes another gem. It's probably going to be emerald. So with that being said, I do need to keep some just in case if I do get around to upgrading lasers. The to ensure that the crushed stone keeps being used, I end up destroying both these warehouses and the one that was holding the stone bricks, so that the crushed stone can be processed into stone, and then the stone can be processed into bricks. I also added warehouses between each of the ores for the crushed stone so that essentially each ore has its own warehouse for crushed stone. This way, the ore refining process can still continue on. So another solution I was thinking is that I've gone and built basically Angel's refining process through and through, from mined ore all the way to the crystals, to the crystals type. There's one more step which will create the purified version of each ore. But the only difference between the purified version and the crystals is that 3 of the ores will actually give you tungsten. And for this process, it uses thermal water, I believe, not the extractor. So you would use the ore refinery to make the purified version of the ore. Now, tungsten is used a lot in the highest tier of BODs mods for like the Mark 4 or 5 or 6 version of that particular building. So tungsten is very useful. Okay, so for example here, this is getting backed up because of the alumina and the tin, which I don't need either one of them. So we'll make sure we'll have a warehouse, and we'll just get rid of this one. Okay, so with the whole refining process, to kind of narrow it down, let's get one of these real quick so I can show examples, because I like visual aids. Instead of using this process, we would use this process here. So this is for basics. I'm pretty sure that's only because of the type of a sorter I just dropped. So let's try a different tier. So I will never need uraninite or fluorite. The amount that I have is plenty. I'll never need it again. So, side note, because I was talking about the uranium power earlier, I am, however, using a very, very small setup to solely produce depleted uranium rounds. Because those are even better than the Bob's Mod Warfare version. So these do a damage of 24 plus about 5, with another damage of about 12, 15, versus uh, Bob's Warfare, which does 12 plus 3, 12 plus 2.5. Now, granted, uh, his ammo holds about 2.5% more, or 2.5 times more, but these do a lot more damage. So I'm stockpiling these, and these are pretty cheap. They're cost me resources that I'm not even going to use ever for anything. I do need plenty of iron ore. Mm. So instead of using the process that just gives you a little bit of everything, maybe changing up the scenarios or the ore sorters so it provides me with specifically what I need most. So, for example, what I've already done was the iron ore. I don't need any cobalt. I don't know if I need anything else other than the tungsten, which means I probably need to set up the third tier with the ore refinery for those three types, and then just have those go into this recipe for the ore sorter, just so I get pure tungsten. Other than that, I probably don't need any more um, raw resources or mining. At this point, I'm basically looking at end game, like what do I want to accomplish. What I was originally going to accomplish was shooting rockets off, as the concept of this whole Let's Play was inspired by Arumba's Rocket Per Patreon series. I've always wanted to retry Angels and Bob's mod packs, or Angels and Bob's mods together again. Because the first time I did Angels and Bob's, I ran into the same problem where the FPS slash UPS got so bad that it wasn't worth playing the game anymore. So I was hoping that, and that was back, what, version 12.35 of Factorio last time I tried both these mods together. I was hoping that enough time's passed, enough updates between Factorio and the mods themselves, where I can get further into the game without the game halting due to the size of the factory. Which is weird, because I've seen some Let's Plays where the factory is huge, where it's like the trains just go everywhere. And then, like, they'll have all these little sections, and I don't know. Like, they don't ever say anything about their factory running slow. So, I guess that's my little rant, just so y'all can keep up with what's going on with the factory. So, like, honestly, the next thing is just let research run and complete, and basically launch rockets. There's, and then, well, let me rephrase that. Lay down a foundation for rocket silos, and then build an infrastructure to support that by any means necessary. So the last time I launched a rocket was Factorio version 12.35, where I used Bod's mod and I launched over 40,000 rockets. I was launching around 120 rockets every 90 seconds. But I was only using Bod's mod. Like, RSO wasn't there, so all the ore nodes that were on the ground were like super close together. And I was using like God modules, so that's why I was saying, like, episode one, like Bosmod is really easy to ramp up production if you just have the resources stored in a chest. It's like super easy. So since it has been a while since I launched a rocket, the process has changed a little bit. So let's get a rocket silo and see where that takes us. 16,000 steel. Oh, honestly, I have no idea where the concrete's at. 8,000 concrete. 200 electric engines. Oh, you know what? That concrete, I don't think it's in a chest. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. It's in a chest. I don't think that the warehouse that it's in is a passive provider chest. Or, yes, it is, because obviously that's how I would make it. Come, my pretty robots, bring me everything. Okay, that should make one. So, satellites is what we launch. Where's those at? So satellites take 100 low density structures, 100 solar panels, 100 accumulators, some radars, 100 electronic logic boards, and some rocket fuel. Well, considering that I've been trying to build these 3 solar panel arrays, and it's taking forever for the solar panels to get produced, laid down. Accumulators take no time at all. May run into some difficulties there. Let me get that. Let's take a look at this. So for the rocket, it just needs 10, 10, and 10. And for the satellite, it needs like tons of stuff. But for the rocket part, I believe each 10, 10, 10. That's like 1%, right? And then once the rocket gets to 100%, then you can launch it. I believe that's right. Let's go with that. So essentially, we just need to mass produce rocket fuel, low density structure, along with solar panels and accumulators and rocket fuel. And if I believe, rocket fuel is pretty difficult. Hydrogen gas with dimethylhydrazine. Good thing I was never a chemistry major. So, I guess that looks like where we're going to be at. And somewhere in this area here. Or maybe this area here is where the rocket silos are going to go. So I'm going to start off at five rocket silos to be launched simultaneously at X amount of time as soon as I figure something out that's reasonable. But that's what I will be working on for the upcoming episodes. So this is a boss, by the way. I found that out. That is a boss. And over here, that's a mini boss. You have to come over here and kill the mini boss first, and then it unlocks the opening area here and allows you to go fight big boss. I'm just kidding. I have no idea. It's just I don't know if I want to go fight biters ever again. That was crazy last time. So this is where I'm at with the factory now. Um, there may or may not be some major changes that come up to it, depending on how the game resources react to me building a massive production to support the 5 rocket silos. I will do what I can to make sure that the game keeps running so I can continue the series. That's all I know. Everything else is just basically up in the air, and I will create a solution when the problem arises. All right. Well, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.